Okay, I'm going to record this, but I'm not going to keep you long for today. Okay, this is our first session. As you can see, we started late. Okay, we're already in the 4th week of the semester. I just want to make this known to everybody that is registered for this class. What is going to happen? Like I said, we're going to accelerate for the first 2 weeks. So I'm going to post readings for 2 weeks at a time for the first week and for this coming week. Okay, I'm going to post that reading by tomorrow night or Thursday night, and I'll give like 1.5 weeks for it to be done. Okay, and then after that, we're going to go week by week. But I'm going to make sure that we do all the work. Okay, and from next week, I'm going to give a full lecture on confidence intervals and hypothesis testing. All right. I take it that you all understand the basics of probability distributions, which you did in your first statistics class. And so, I'm not going to dwell much on that. But I do know that students have some issues with confidence intervals, hypothesis testing, and remember that this is a second level statistics class in business. And so it's going to be a lot more rigorous than whatever you did in your first statistics class. We're going to emphasize inferential statistics. That's all we're going to do here is inferential statistics. We're going to do confidence intervals, hypothesis testing for one population, hypothesis testing for 2 populations. We're going to do regression analysis, simple linear regression. We're going to do multiple linear regression, and then we're going to do index numbers and what have you. And so you should brace yourself for some very serious work, but this is very, very useful work. And so, we're just going to accelerate things a little bit. I'm saying this here on the recorded line so that when we start moving, we're going to be moving fast, okay? I'm not going to do anything today, because I didn't tell you exactly what topic I'm going to cover, But I wanted to talk a little bit about statistical thinking, okay? Because I read through your responses, everybody's responses for, let me see, okay. You can see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. It's about, this real estate case, okay? It's a real estate discussion, a discussion about real estate. And very often when students, respond to this case, they completely miss the point. They completely miss the point because the whole idea is to ask yourselves, how do you go about raising questions that you are going to resolve in statistics? First of all, you need to actually address the question in normal language, okay? And what are the steps? Now, the steps in statistical thinking is, first of all, you define a problem. You define a problem and then identify the variables that you need to solve that problem. Once you identify the variables, then you collect the data and you subject the data to statistical procedures. But if you do not ask the right question, you're going to be, giving wrong answers, because the answers that you will give will not address the question that you're supposed to ask. And I raise this question, I use this problem every time to get students to see how much students think about process, because statistical analysis is a process, and that process has to be right. It says here that 3 people are discussing whether there are differences in the prices of houses in 2 locations, okay? The 2 locations, what do you call that? Apple Valley and Eastville, okay? And Apple Valley and Eastville. Are there differences in the prices of houses? Let's not get into the hypothesis testing yet. But what questions are you going to ask that you have to subject to statistical testing? Okay. Now, when you think about this problem, it says, are there differences in the prices of houses? Okay? And in order to answer this question, you have to apply statistical testing procedures, but you must ask the right question first and take the right steps before you can actually, before your statistical procedure will help you to answer the question correctly. Otherwise, you will not answer the question correctly, and you will also be wasting your time if you are delving into questions that don't need to be answered. So now, one person, the manager says that any differences in the price of houses in the two districts can be explained by buyer's preference for Apple Valley. Okay, so somebody says it's just a matter of preference. That is why somebody's coming in. Okay, here's a new person, Ria Dolores. All right. Okay, welcome, Ria. Hello, are you hearing me? Are you hearing us? Hello. All right, let's go on. Let's go on. But I'm not hearing anything from our friend who just joined. Oh, okay. She says she can hear. All right, fine and good, but we are not able to hear you. But let's move on. As long as she's able to hear, you can unmute yourself if you need to do that in order to speak. So the question here is, what is the right question to ask? Okay, and what is the right process? Now, the question says, are there differences in the prices of houses? Now, differences in the prices of houses could be the result of pure preference. Okay, it's not that houses in one district are better than houses in the other district, depending on how you define better. It could be that the houses are bigger. It could be that houses are older. It could be that houses are newer. It could be that the houses are better built. Any number of reasons, but that's not what we are concerned about. Somebody says it's just pure preference, which is to say the houses are not bigger, the houses are not better built, the houses are not new. It has nothing to do with anything concerning the quality of houses. It has everything to do with pure preference. And pure preference can come for a number of reasons. It could be that the school districts, the schools are better. It could be that the neighborhoods are safer. Okay? Those are all the possible reasons why there is pure preference. Okay? Even though the houses are of the same size or whatever, pure preference comes as a result of just plain discrimination. And so this is one example where, statistical analysis could be used to address problems of, say, conflict resolution. You can say discrimination, okay? For example, you can say that the males in an employment place are paid better than the females because the males are better educated. And so now you can subject that kind of question to statistical analysis. First of all, you go and test whether the males are better educated, like they have more schooling. You find out that the males are not better educated. And so you conclude then that there must be some other reason. If there's no other reason but pure preference, then tell us what that reason is. It could be that when you can find out that maybe the males have worked there longer. The males have been in the profession longer. Okay, so it is longevity that is causing the pay disparity. Now, suppose then you use statistical analysis to show that males do not have greater longevity than the females. So it is not longevity, it is not education. Then tell us what it is if it is not pure discrimination. This is the kind of thing that you can use statistical analysis to test. And so this is an example of that. Okay? You said it's pure preference, it has nothing to do with quality of houses. Okay? Now, or any characteristics of the houses, which would include the age. Okay? Now, but the manager feels, though, that the difference in houses could be explained by differences in the average age or the average size of houses. Okay? So these are the things we're going to explore. All right? So how do we go about it? And I said, list all the questions that should be answered to resolve the issues raised by the three persons in this case. Describe the procedural process by which you can reach conclusions. So the first thing then that you do, remember that they are arguing about difference in prices. So your first step will be to find out if there are really differences in the prices of houses. What I expect students to do is to say, I will test to know if there are any differences in the prices, because somebody is assuming there are differences in the prices. So your first step is to test whether there are, whether there are any differences in the prices. And I say, what if you then find out that there is no difference in the prices? What would you do next? Can you answer that question? Suppose, I mean, the argument is that there are differences in the prices because of age or size. But then you go and test the hypothesis. Let us say you test the hypothesis. We haven't gotten there yet. You go and test the hypothesis and find out that there's no difference in the prices of the houses between the two neighborhoods. What do you do?
Can I do some questions? Like, does the price of the house vary depending on the size of the house in square feet? Something like that?
But there's no difference in the average price of houses in the two neighborhoods. That's your issue. Okay. You go and find out the average price of houses in the two neighborhoods is the same. What do you do next? The answer is very simple. You have no issue.
Okay, okay.
That's the end of the research. There's no difference in the price of houses. Therefore, if buyers prefer one neighborhood to the other, it's just pure discrimination. Since there are no differences in the price of the houses. You get it? Okay. Now, when you then test and see that actually there are differences in the prices of houses, somebody said it's because of age. Another person says it's because of size. Then your next test will be to see if there are differences in the age. If there's no difference in the age, you find out if there are differences in size. Or maybe you find out if there are differences in both age and size. And that is at that point, now you begin to explain. Now something paradoxical could happen. Let us say that the price of houses in Apple Valley is much lower. No, I'm sorry. The age of houses in Apple Valley are much older, or the sizes in Apple Valley are much bigger. You get it? If the size of houses in Apple Valley are much bigger, but the prices are lower, then at that point you have a paradox. How come the bigger houses have lower prices? All right? Suppose the age of houses in one side are much older and the prices are much lower. Then you ask yourself, is there any reason the older houses have much lower prices? Then we begin to look at other factors, like the conditions of the houses, maybe the condition of the neighborhood. You get the idea? Okay. So this is statistical thinking. And it can lead to a lot of controversy, it can lead to a lot of research, can lead to a lot of analysis, and the analysis could get complicated. So this is what I expect students to answer here, but each time I throw the question out, you have all these long answers. And I'm saying, what? I put it in a discussion. All right. And we do a lot of discussions here about how to use statistical analysis to resolve issues. And we're going to resolve quite a bit of them throughout this class. So you can really see how statistical thinking works. All right. Okay. So that's all I have for today. Just to explain to you first, we're going to accelerate for the first 2 or 3 weeks, and then we'll take a normal pace. We'll take it from there. But this is going to be a very interesting class in the sense that you will now actually see statistical analysis in action. All right? So do you have any question at this point?
No question.
Okay, all right. So I'm going to pause this. You can listen to it again. And then I look forward to seeing everybody next time around. All right? So have a nice evening.